time to go in-depth with the coaches and players of the New Paltz Hawks community. From the turf to the court and everywhere in between, we've got you covered, asking the questions you want to hear. You're listening to Hawk Talk on WFNP The Edge, 88.7 FM, and live online at WFNP.org. And now here's your host, Ryan Labita.
Good evening and welcome to Hawk Talk. I'm your host, Ryan Labita, on this Friday, March 4th, 2016. Glad you could join us. Been having a super awesome week. Just celebrated my 22nd birthday on March 1st. And now I'm in the studio doing Hawk Talk. So two great things all in 1 week. It is just perfection. All right, so joining me live in the studio tonight, and this is the first live interview we've done in a while since Maggie Heaton and Ethan Cook from the swimming team. So from the softball team, I have the pleasure of having senior catcher Jordan Fiore and senior pitcher Kitty Rutkowski. So let's first welcome Jordan Fiore on the show. Jordan, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So before we dive about talking about the team and softball and all that good stuff, let's get to know you first. Tell us your hometown and your major.
I'm from Mount Sinai. It's on Long Island, and my major is communication disorders with the minor in deaf studies.
Now, how long have you been playing softball, and what made you get into the sport?
I've been playing for probably around 10 years, and my dad's always played baseball and football and just has kind of been an athlete all his life. So I started playing soccer when I was little, and then I kind of just moved to softball from there, and I just fell in love with it. So
fair to say sports has kind of been in the family and just kind of an easy transition.
Definitely.
That's great, and a kind of similar story with me. I mean, my dad played a lot of sports in high school, and always, both my parents, big sports people, and then kind of carried on over to me doing football and track in high school. So, in a nutshell, talk about your career here at SUNY New Paltz playing for the Hawks.
Well, it's definitely been bittersweet, especially lately because, everything's coming to a close. But it's been the best 4 years of my life. I say that whenever anyone asks me how it's been. We faced a lot of diversity on the team, I think, with coaches and, players and everything. And I feel like I wouldn't have asked for anything more. It's been the best 4 years, definitely.
Now, you're a senior, going to be graduating in May. What are your future plans for your softball career as you move on?
I think I'll probably play recreationally, probably, every so often over the summer in, an older league. But that's really it. And probably maybe some coaching for my younger sister's team, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Now, you open up the season next weekend with the Seagull Classic in Salisbury, Maryland. It's going to be a doubleheader with Lynchburg on Friday the 11th and Salisbury on Saturday the 12th. So, with this being your senior year, what are your personal goals and expectations?
Well, this year is obviously the big year. I think we played Salisbury my sophomore year, and we played a very good game against them. And I think that with the team that we have this year, we have a very good chance of competing at the level that they're at. Personally, I'm just trying to go out with a bang kind of thing and just do everything the way I'm supposed to do it.
And that's the best way. That's such a great attitude to have.
Thank you.
Now, after a 19-16 record last year, the team was eliminated from SUNYAC playoffs after losing to Brockport in the conference finale. So after that, how does the team plan to rebound and get into the playoffs?
One of our biggest, things that we've been doing this season is trying to focus more on a single thing each day. So, each practice we're kind of just saying, focus on this and focus on the task at hand. And I think that us focusing on the little things first will get us to the big things, and I think that it'll move us into SUNYAC play.
And so, thank you. And now we have to take a quick break, and for that, here is the latest news, scores, and updates for all the sports across the Hawk spectrum. Here is the Hawk Talk halftime report. Okay, so going on right now, the women's basketball team is playing in Glassboro, New Jersey, taking on Rowan University in the first round of the NCAA tournament. That game is currently underway. That game is in the second quarter, and Rowan is ahead of New Paltz 43-31. Women's tennis and lacrosse both cross over the Hudson tomorrow to face the Vassar Brewers. Lacrosse game will be at noon, and the tennis match at 1 p.m. And men's volleyball squares off against two schools, Juanita College and Dominican College from Illinois, at the Hawk Center. Those games going on tomorrow. And that is your Hawk Talk halftime report. So welcome back to the Hawk Talk on WFNP The Edge. If you're just joining in, or tuning in, excuse me, I have the two members from the softball team. We just interviewed Jordan Fiore. Now let's turn on over to Katie Rufkowski. So Katie, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Before we're talking about softball, let's get to know you. So tell us your hometown and major.
I'm also from Long Island. I'm from Plainview, New York, and my major is communication disorders with a minor in deaf studies.
All right, we got two Long Island girls in here. I did grow up upstate, but I was born down there, born in Rockville Center. Lived in Hicksville for a little while, so it's always great to see. And it's kind of interesting going to New Paltz. Most of my friends are going to up north or out west, so they're going to Fredonia, Ithaca, Potsdam, Plattsburgh. So first off, when I meet anyone from the 518, it's a miracle. But then it's always cool to meet people from Long Island, especially around the Hicksville area.
Yeah.
So Syosset and Plainview and all those towns and cities. Now, how long have you been playing softball, and what made you get into the sport?
I've been playing softball probably since I was about 8 years old. Same thing as Jordan. My dad was a big athlete. Both my brothers played baseball. There's actually a picture of me as a baby in my crib with a baseball next to my head. So I just kind of went right into it, and I've loved it ever since.
Mm-hmm. And that's a funny thing. I've heard that from a lot of the athletes that I've had on the show. They started when they were young. As soon as they were born, they put them in the hospital crib and give them a baseball, football, basketball, something like that. So in a nutshell, talk about your career here at SUNY New Paltz.
It's been the best thing I could have asked for. I agree with Jordan. It just has been really great. It's sad that it's ending, but it's been a really great ride, and it's been exciting with each new team each year, each new coach that we've had to go through, but it's been a great job, and I'm happy where we are right now. Couldn't ask for anything more.
Mm-hmm. Now, both of you have said that it's just been the best 4 years, so can you go a little bit more in detail what makes it so great? And I'll start off with you, Katie, and then Jordan to you.
The friendships that you make as teammates is not like any other friendships you have. We really have become a family, especially since through all the adversity that we've gone through. More than just playing the sport on the bus rides and the hotel rooms, we've really just became a family. And then on the field, it shows as well. And it's great. We've just been going through a lot together, and it's a great time.
I definitely agree with that. I feel like when I played travel softball in high school, I thought that those girls were like my best friends, and that was going to be the closest I was ever going to get with the team. And coming in here freshman year, I thought the same thing, and I was like, wow, we're so close, and we're all so, into the sport, and we all want it so bad, but it's never, like, this is as good as it's going to get with these group of girls I have now, and it's an amazing experience to be going through it. It really is, and we're really lucky.
Yeah, and they say that, your high school friends are close, but your college friends are even closer.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Definitely.
And, team chemistry, that's what leads to wins, to championships, and, both on and off the field. Because you could be you could have a team that's super athletic, they win the games, but, in the locker room, they just don't get along, and that can result in just turmoil on the field. But it's good to see that the softball team here at New Paltz has such a strong companionship and friendship and just team chemistry.
Yeah,
it's the glue that seals.
Definitely.
Now, what are your future plans as you're going to be graduating post-collegiate softball career?
Playing competitive in college at the highest level I could has been a really great run, and I'm going to miss it a lot. I don't think anything could compare to that, but I would love to coach and give lessons and things like that in the future.
Okay. So, as I mentioned with Jordan earlier, you're opening up next weekend with the Seagull Classic against Lynchburg and Salisbury. So, what are your personal goals and expectations as this is the final ride?
It is. I'm just trying to go into the season taking one pitch at a time, one inning at a time, really focusing on the little things and just working hard, and then the winning will just be a byproduct of that.
And how do you plan to, like I said, the ending of last season was not so great. 2 losses against Brockport Eagles. So how do you plan to rebound and get into the playoffs? And my bad for opening the bad wounds, because
That's okay.
it's always I've talked to different athletes on the show, and whenever I mention the negative parts, like the losing seasons or the adversities with something with a teammate or whatever. But yeah, that's always the fun part of a talk show, getting the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, we've learned from those losses and those bad things that have happened, and this year we really refocused and working on really just taking one thing at a time and working together as a team and getting the little things done. And yeah, that's how we are planning to rebound this season.
All right. Now, I have 2 questions for the both of you. And I want to talk about softball just in general, not New Paltz specific, SUNYAC specific. Now, some people have criticized softball that it's, quote, copycat baseball. It's not as significant. It's not as edgy, exciting, fun. Personally, I disagree with that. I've been to softball games, and they're just as competitive, just as fun to watch as softball. So how do you defend the sport against the critics? And what makes softball not only unique, but just as exciting and competitive as baseball? And we'll start off with Katie and then Jordan.
I think of baseball as a different sport than softball. It's the same premise, but it's a different sport.
Mm-hmm.
Softball and baseball both have great attributes, but softball is just fast, it's quick, it's dirty, it's everything great that it can be. Baseball is great too, but obviously I'm a little biased. I'm going to say softball is better. But I think it's, if as exciting, it's more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I think people take it for granted and think that it's just easy. And I agree, it's a very fast-moving, fast-paced sport, and I feel like baseball is more of a, not that it's a leisurely sport, but it's not as fast-moving, I guess, and just with softball you have to be on your toes and always knowing the next play and things like that, and I definitely do disagree that it's not as exciting and competitive, especially when you get to college in general. We were just talking with our team the other day about a statistic, and they said, I think it was around like 2% of all girls that play softball in high school only play, 2% of them go to college and play softball in Division III. So it's just, if that doesn't tell you it's unique and exciting, I don't know what does.
Oh, absolutely. And going to that, what you said about baseball being slow, there have been critics of baseball that,
Definitely.
it's way too slow, and people are trying to persuade the MLB to try to put a time on, the innings. I mean, literally a game could, in theory, go on forever. But, yeah, you see games that start at 7 o'clock, they wind up finishing at 1, 2 in the morning, and it's just, like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you got ends. So what do you think about girls that are contemplating playing baseball? Do you think they should play baseball instead of softball? Because one female friend of mine, we were talking about it, and she was a softball player, and she wanted to really play in the MLB, get the accolades and attention. But what do you say about that?
I think that it depends, kind of, because, I agree with you. I've heard of the stories where girls start out playing baseball, and, everyone, when they start playing baseball or softball, they kind of start out with T-ball, and, it goes from there. But I think that if you start out playing baseball and, go from there, you grow up into the rules and you develop into the game. I think if you play softball first and then want to transition, into baseball, I think that's a little more difficult, being how different, like we said, the games are. And I think that it would just be a little bit of a harder transition. So, yeah, I think it just all honestly just depends on, who's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with Jordan. It definitely depends on the person. They're both great. It depends on what you want to do. But, I mean, I love playing softball, so I think it's great. But I see what, like, she would mean with MLB and doing that. But now the softball's coming back to the Olympics. That's getting bigger again, so maybe that'll change people's opinions.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always little things like that with the reintroduction of softball. into the Olympics coming up this summer in Rio de Janeiro. And I'm glad you two could help defend the sport of softball, and even just in general kind of women's sports. Because I have a lot of guy friends that are quote-unquote jocks.
Right.
And they're just, girls can't play basketball or girls can't play hockey. I mean, just look at the women's basketball here at New Paltz.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
They are just playing fantastic. And even like women's hockey, I mean, you don't think they can hit hard? Oh, they can hit hard. I mean, I had a friend that in middle school, she was on a travel team. I went to see one of her games, and I was like, dang, these girls can hit. Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, definitely, it's just, in the whole, I mean, whether man, woman, sports is sports, you know.
100%.
Definitely.
So before we get to final thoughts, we want to open up the Hawk Talk mailbag where listeners have submitted questions to be asked on the show. And as a reminder, if you like to submit a question, you can send us a tweet at NP Hawk Talk or send us a message on the Facebook page. And luckily this week we have a ton of questions for the show. So the first one comes from Darcy in Yonkers. She wrote in, "Hey, Katie, how long did it take to perfect your fast pitch?"
I've been working as a pitcher since I started playing softball. Because of my size, it's taken a lot of work to get to where I am today, and I've just learned how to use my body and the strengths that I do have to throw hard. But it definitely took a while and a lot of hard work, but I got here, so...
Mm-hmm. All right, and so let's get to the other, and that question came earlier, but now we've just had, the mailbag has just been filling in, and I'm really glad. I'm glad to get a good fan base, because that's been one of my goals with Hawk Talk. It's a brand new show, to get more involvement on campus, spread the word, spread the gospel, hallelujah. All right, first question from Shina. What is your favorite cheer to rally your opponent during the games?
We do a lot of really fun cheers in the dugout. If you ever come to any of our games, you'll hear us from a mile away. Any of the team cheers that we do really rile us up at the beginning of the game, in the middle of the game, anytime in the game. We just yell and scream and bang on things a lot, and it's great. It pumps everyone up, so it's really fun. All
right, we have to take a quick commercial break, but don't turn that dial. Do not turn that dial. I repeat, you are listening to Hawk Talk on WFNP, live online at WFNP.org, and on the radio on 88.7 FM.
Hello there, Donut the Monster here. Do you want to perform puppets just like myself? Then come join the Puppeteering Club. We meet Tuesdays at 4:30 p.m. in sub 407. Hope to see you there.
Housing discrimination. Would you recognize it and report it? These folks did.
My landlord said rent will be cheaper if we're friends with benefits.
Because I'm legally blind, a landlord questioned whether I'd be capable of maintaining an apartment.
Our real estate agent said a different neighborhood with people like us might better suit our family.
To learn more about housing discrimination, visit HUD.gov/fair housing. Fair housing is your right. Use it. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
And welcome back to Hawk Talk on WFNP, the cutting edge of the Hudson Valley. I have Jordan Fiore and Katie Roskowski from the softball team here in the studio tonight. And let's continue with questions from the Hawk Talk mailbag. So Shina has a second question. If Coach had Jordan pitch and Katie be the catcher in the SUNYAC game, what do you think the score would be?
It's funny because Katie always jokes about this all the time and saying how it would be so cool to catch. And I pitched in like middle school softball, but never at this kind of level. And I think it would just be very funny to see. But yeah, I think it would just be very funny.
Haley writes in, where is the coolest city your team travels to each season?
I think last year we went to Myrtle Beach, and we're going back again this year. That was a really great time. We were there for about a little over a week, and we just, after games, we would explore everywhere. It was really great. We got to play at UNC, where our coach used to play, which was an incredible experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that was
really
amazing.
great.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
Does your team have any pregame rituals or routines?
We actually try and change it every year. We've been talking about it for this season because we play our first game, as you said, on next Friday. But we've been kind of just talking about it, so if you want to hear it, you have to come to our games.
Favorite pregame meal?
I think that everyone's different. Everyone has their little quirks. Everyone has their little superstitions of what they have to do before a game. It's funny when you see people do them and you realize and you kind of catch them in the act. But we all kind of have our little things that we do before games.
Well, as long as it's not as weird as in the movie Major League with Charlie Sheen, the one baseball player, he had a whole little voodoo temple set up in his locker, praying to the little voodoo guy. It's like, but hey, whatever wins
Whatever
games,
works, yeah.
whatever works.
Exactly.
What's your favorite Coach Robinson phrase?
Probably shoe fire. That's probably a good one. She has a ton of very funny things that she says, but yeah, that's definitely
And ways that she says them.
Yeah, that's definitely even funnier.
Megan writes in, what is your favorite joke to play on Coach Robinson?
Well,
Oh man, we kind of do one every day. I don't know. What have been ones that we do recently?
we kind of just, we're a very funny, fool around kind of team. Like, we have a really great relationship with our coach to where, we make a joke and, she knows it's a joke. So that's kind of just the relationship we have. So it's just, yeah, it's really funny.
We make fun of her accent a lot.
Yeah, that'd probably be the biggest one.
Your favorite team building exercise?
Hold the rope.
Yeah, definitely hold the rope.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're doing that tomorrow, so we're very excited about that.
And then our final mailbag writer, Anna, writes in, if Coach Robinson rewarded you with food for wins, what would your food of choice be? Seems like we're getting a lot of food tonight. It makes me hungry.
We're a big food eating team. Mine would, oh wow, anything Italian maybe, I think.
We usually get this on road trips anyway, but Chipotle,
All right.
definitely.
All right. Which opponent are you most amped up to play this season and why?
Honestly, I feel like in the past we've had one solid team that we were like, we really want to beat, Cortland, or we really want to beat whatever. But honestly, I think that all of the teams in our conference are equally, spread out with competition. I feel like, every team has been beaten by every team kind of thing. And there's not really, I don't believe there to be one powerhouse team. And I really think that is what makes this conference so difficult, but also so amazing and so fun to go into every game and be like, this team's not unbeatable, so it's nice.
Yeah.
And our last Hawk Talk mailbag question, what is the worst training exercise Coach Robinson has asked you to do?
Probably deep sixes. Those are not the most fun. Yeah.
Now, I got to ask you, has she ever made you do Turkish get-ups?
I don't know what that is.
Or do you know? Okay, our football coach had us do this. Basically, you take 2 dumbbells and you lay on the ground and you have to hold one with one arm, keep your arm completely stretched up, and get up. Without any, you just have to use your leg. It's a big leg exercise.
Don't give her any idea.
Oh boy, if Coach Robinson's listening, do not do Turkish get-ups. I absolutely hated them.
Yeah.
Coach Lilac, he's a great football coach. Love the guy, but why with the Turkish get-ups? Why? All right, so we are reaching the end of the show, and we're going to ask you two just a small variety of fun questions.
Cool.
So, another food question, but got to ask you, what is your own favorite food?
I'd have to say mine would be sushi, I think.
Mine would be pizza, definitely.
Favorite movie?
Oh, wow. I really like radio a lot, so I think that'd be one of them.
My favorite movie is A League of Their Own.
Your favorite TV show?
The Vampire Diaries.
I guess I would either have to say Friends or How I Met Your Mother.
All right. Favorite class at New Paltz? And it could be, freshman through senior year.
Yeah, I would have to say, can I pick 2?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I'd have to say phonetics was probably one of my favorite classes. And I took a class last semester. It was called Autism Spectrum Disorders, and it was really interesting. So, yeah, I really like that one, too.
My favorite class I took my sophomore year. It was just an intro to audiology class, and that made me fall in love with it.
Oh, cool. Your favorite professor at New Paltz?
Professor Bauer, I think.
Mine would be Dr. Turk.
Your favorite activities off the diamond?
I'd have to say just hanging out with my friends and family.
I'm really into yoga.
All right. Your dream vacation destination? If you could travel anywhere in the world, off the world, outer space.
I would have to say Aruba.
I would really love to go to Ireland. I've seen pictures and it just looks so beautiful.
Two good, very choices. One very warm, one right in time for St. Patty's Day. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be?
Definitely flying. 100%.
Mine would be to teleport anywhere.
Your most memorable softball game ever in your entire softball career? College, before college, or whenever?
I would definitely have to say, and I'm sure Katie agrees with me, last year we played a Plattsburgh Potsdam weekend, and I hit a walk-off home run in the bottom of the seventh to win against Plattsburgh, so that was something I'll never, ever forget.
And mine was the night before that. We played Potsdam, and it was under the lights. It was great, and I hit a walk-off in that game, too, so it was a really great weekend for both of us.
Nice. And I don't know, it just seems like there's something about playing under lights.
Definitely.
That's just a little bit different.
Oh,
Whether,
yeah.
Definitely.
Whether it's, indoors or outdoors, even like in an arena. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, not knocking, day games, but being under the lights, it's just kind of magical, I
Yeah,
guess.
feel. You're right.
Definitely.
100%.
Absolutely.
And lastly, if you could throw catch with any softball player, past to present, pro, semi-pro, or Joe Schmo, who would it be?
Bianca Bell, who plays on LSU, I've seen her play, and it's just, she's amazing. And I feel like it'd be really cool, to catch against someone who plays at that high of a level of competition and, learn some things from her. I feel like that'd be pretty cool.
I would love to throw with Kat Osterman. She would probably overtower me by a few feet, but it would be really great.
That is awesome. And that is all the time we have on Hawk Talk tonight. Tune in next Friday as I will have Brett Wisner of the baseball team live in the studio. For the latest Hawks news, make sure to head on over to nphawks.com. Once again, a special thank you to Jordan Fiore and Katie Rutkowski for coming on to the show tonight. Also, thank you to head coach Brittany Robinson for helping me set up this interview. Tonight's engineer has been Victoria O'Connor. Wise Radio with DJ Sage is coming up next.